Okay, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about a case study of the approach we used to help solve the revenue decline and then boosted sales for a consulting business. Now, the strategies I'm going to be sharing with you is responsible for over 800% jump in sales revenue within the first 90 days of its implementation. Now, the good thing is that even though this was specific to consulting business, the approaches shared can be used in between multiple multiple businesses, right? So we're going to be talking about how to turn low sales into consistent growth with a proven system. Everything we're going to be talking about in this system all boils down to using a proven system. And I'm going to be showing you how you can implement it in your own business and get a predictable sales revenue. Now, what was the challenge this business, in this case a consulting business, was facing? Now, the consulting business was experiencing declining revenue, right, despite having a good offer. Now, they had a very good consulting offer, but they were seeing a decline in the revenue. And this resulted to them struggling to attract high-paying clients consistently, right, despite having a good offer. And the marketing spend wasn't bringing in a good return on investment. The whole point of doing marketing is to get a good return on investment. So you are supposed to know that if I spend $1, I'm expected to get $2, $3, or $4, the case may be. If that isn't happening, then that could be considered a problem. Then we also realized that they had a sales process. Their sales process lacked a structure or follow-up. So this was the challenge they were facing when we met them. Right. So by implementing our systems, before we implemented our systems, we were able to discover the root causes for the problems they were facing. Okay. So we were able to discover the root causes for the problem they were facing. Now, the number one root cause for that problem was they had no clear targeting in place. They were speaking to everyone, which in return led to them converting no one. First of all, you're in business for the people, but you must understand that even in that people, you have your own peculiar kind of persons, right? So you cannot afford to be speaking to everyone, because when you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one, right? So we also identified that they had a very weak generation system, which resulted to inconsistent flow of prospects, right? Because of all this, they had a very low trust in the market, right? Not because of all this. Mainly, the reason why they had nobody was trusting them was because they weren't positioning themselves as an authority, right? So, if you want to gain trust in any market or any business you find yourself, you must learn how to position yourself as an authority, right? And lastly, their sales team was reactive, not proactive. By reactive, it means that they were just reacting to the leads they see, and they were not putting up any effort or any systems to attract leads to themselves. So they were just going with what the flow offers instead of creating how the flow should flow. I believe that makes sense, right? So these were the root cause for the problems they were facing. Now, to our approach, what did we do to help them solve this problem? Now, the first thing we did was to audit their current sales plus marketing funnel. The whole essence of doing this is to understand what was working and what was not working, and how we can improve on what was working, and then implement new systems to bring in results. That's the whole process, or the whole reason for me doing a current sales and marketing funnel audit. Then we now proceeded to installing our outbound system, which in this case we identified that we're going to be using cold email plus LinkedIn with outreach, because this particular client was big on LinkedIn. So it was a lot easier for us to use their LinkedIn profile to, implement our outbound systems. Then this also resulted to us setting up appointment setting, right? The things we did enabled us to set up an appointment setting process for your consulting business. And then we used AI powered follow-ups to engage old leads. Now, one of the problems I see most business neglecting is that they fail to realize that for the fact that someone has identified as a lead, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will buy at that point in time, right? These people that's identified as lead might not be see the problem you're solving at the point when they identified. But in the next 2 to 3 months, they may realize that they have that problem and then start seeking out for solution. So by using just AI powered follow-ups to engage old leads, we see a good jump in revenue, right? So it's important that you have it in mind that if you are not engaging your old leads, you are leaving a lot of money in the table. So try setting up processes that will help you re-engage old leads. That's vital. Then lastly, which is not the least, we rebuild their messaging, clear value proposition and authority positioning. Now, the reason why people don't respond to your messages is not because you are not doing well, or you don't know what you're doing. It's because you have not defined your value proposition and they don't yet see you as an authority. The very moment you have these two things in check, people are bound to respond to your messages if it is personalized, of course. Right, so these are the approach we took to get the results we saw. Now for the execution aspects, what did we do? Now we defined their ideal customer profile. Now I said initially earlier that you are in business for people, but in that people you have your own kind of persons. Right. So by that I mean the ideal customer profile. Now the ideal customer profile is you understanding the people you are called to serve with your product or service. When you are trying to serve everyone, then you are trying to serve no one, right? But when you identify your people inside that everyone, you'll be able to put your marketing messages, your marketing content, everything you do to be appealing to those kind of persons. Now, your ideal customer profile is the people you are supposed to or you want to serve with your product or service. Now, this includes you understanding where they are, what they work, what they spend their time on, what are their fears, what are some objections they might have when it comes to patronizing your business, how much do they earn, how much do they want to make, like why would they even want your product, right? So this is what it entails. It's a whole lot, but this is what it entails on the surface level. So we help them define their ideal customer profile, and this enabled us to build targeted prospect lists across LinkedIn. Right, since we had the ideal customer profile in check, we're able to use that to build a targeted prospect list. And then after building that targeted prospect list, we launched a personalized outreach campaigns. Personalized outreach campaigns in the sense that we do our research. That was what this ideal customer profile is all about. We understand the prospect himself, like before doing an outreach. So we make a research, personalize it before making an outreach, which as you can see boosted the sales. Then we help them create content plus credibility assets for LinkedIn. Remember, I told you this client was big on LinkedIn. So we are able to help them create content that position them as an authority, right? Which in a way gave them a credibility boost, right, on LinkedIn. So we now implemented the CRM tracking and follow-up automations, right? When it comes to scaling, tracking and automations is very vital. We'll talk about it in the next slide. So these are the things we did for this prospect to enable them get the kind of sales that they got. Now coming to the result aspect. Now they were able to go from 50 qualified leads per month. That's what they were doing when they met us, to over 450 plus leads now currently per month. Now 450 leads per month might seem small, but when we look at it from the context of what I mean qualified leads, you get my point now. By qualified leads, I mean people that have both the interest and the ability to purchase. Right, now remember, this is a system, meaning that we can decide to scale it to 1,000 leads, 2,000 leads, 5,000 leads per month. Right, so we are just working with the current sales team. Right, so we're able to go get them from 50 qualified leads to 450 plus qualified leads per month. Now what this simply means is that 450 people plus have the money and the interest in their service. So it's not just like a lead that someone that has an interest, but this one by qualified leads, we mean people that have both the interest and the money to back up that interest. Now, this resulted to over 800% jump in 90 days. So in 90 days, after implementing our system, they saw an 800% jump in their current revenue. Now, This resulted to them being able to predict their pipeline, right, instead of chasing leads. Now, the first question I asked them during our discovery call was, what is their sales goal? And they couldn't give me a they gave a response. But when I asked them how much were they currently doing per month, they couldn't give me a figure. And one thing you should know is that as a business owner, if you cannot predict the amount of sales you can make in a month, it simply means that you have no system in place, or you have no working system in place. Because the whole essence of having a working system is to be able to predict where your next sale will come from. So if you have a system that is in place, you'll be able to predict how much you can make in a month. So if you have a goal of hitting $1 million at the end of the year, a system like this will help you predict and know what you should be working on to achieve that goal. That's the whole essence of having a system like this. So it helps them to get a predictable pipeline instead of chasing prospects, and it overall improves their confidence plus morale. You can see that most times you might be good with your products, but because you don't have good clients backing it up, that might hurt your confidence level. So when you have a system in place that attract clients on you for you on replay, this is certain to build and boost the confidence of yourself and that of your team. And what are the lessons we learned? We discovered that revenue problems usually come from broken systems, not bad products. If you have a good system in place, you can be able to sell bad products. It's just I won't advise you to do that, because at the long run it will come back and bite your credibility and your presence in the marketplace. So it's important to work on your product. But if you're having revenue problems, it's usually because you have a bad system in place, not usually because of your product. Now, consistent outreach plus clear positioning are crucial. Now, when it comes to making sales or making an impact online, you must realize that you must be consistent with your outreach, and you must learn how to position yourself well. If you can do these two things, if you can do it right, you are bound to see results. Then when it comes to scalability, we are talking of automation plus tracking. Now, automation is the ability to do something once and then get it repeated in multiple times without your efforts. So it's just you setting up a system once that can be repeated in multiple folds without you having to do anything. Then in tracking, we are talking about you measuring your metrics, looking at what is working, and that will now enable you know what can be improved, what you should be doing well. Once you can get these two things in place, you can scale any business. Then we also realize that right system equals to growth. I made a mistake here. It's right system equals to growth, not impotent decline. If you have the right system in place, you are certain to grow, right? So long as you have the right system, the right product, growth is certain. Now, you watching this, you might be having an issue. Maybe some of the things I've mentioned in this training or in this video is something you're experiencing. So if you are struggling with low sales or revenue decline, I think we can talk. I don't know if I can help you yet, because I need to look at your current marketing systems or process to determine if my process would work for you. So we need to have a quick call for me to determine if you are a right fit for the business. Then if you find out that you're a right fit, then we can go ahead in building an outbound system for your business that will lead to you generating predictable leads and revenue. So just imagine if you have an inbound system in place, and then you now implement this outbound system in place. Imagine the number of sales you make. But let's say you don't have an inbound system in place because you're still starting out. You are trying to manage your funds. Just imagine what's having an outbound systems like this to generate predictable leads and revenue will do for your business. Now, the beautiful thing about outbound marketing systems is that it's not expensive to manage, unlike inbound marketing systems. When we talk about inbound marketing system, we're talking about using paid outreach. Now, with outbound, you're just talking about you setting up a system once, maybe with just a partial investment initially to set up those systems. After you set up those systems, it will keep generating results on auto replay, right? You don't have to keep investing on advertisements cost or anything. You just have to keep investing in a little from the percentage you make from the sales in maintaining the system, right? So when you have something like this in place, you are bound to get a predictable revenue or leads per month. So if you think there is a synergy for us to work together, you can click on the link below this video to book a call with me. It's either me or someone in my team will attend to you. We'll first of all audit to see what you're doing. If we find out that your business is the right fit for us, or there's a point for us to work together, then we can go ahead to implement the strategies into your business. But if we find out that we can't work with you because maybe you have a different offer, a complex business, then we can maybe provide you with free tips or point you to the right direction. Okay, so thank you so much for taking out your time to see this video. I hope you have learned a thing or two from it. I'm Sam Okechukwu, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.